Can you be non-monogamous and still get jealous? Today is Q&A time where I answer a subscriber's question, and the answer is yes, absolutely. But tune in to a much more robust answer that complicates all the yummy things. I'm the sex Mormon therapist with the emphasis on X. I'm a certified sex therapist here to help you get the information we never got at church, unlearn the shame we did get at church, and reconnect you with pleasure. Subscribe if you're looking for real talk and tips and tricks to better sex and relationships. Okay, let's dive in. Jealousy is a natural human emotion. It is not a failure, and no relationship structure will save you from it. It shows up in both monogamous and non-monogamous settings. Being ethically non-monogamous does not mean you eliminate jealousy. It means you learn how to work with it, hopefully more consciously and compassionately. Let's break this down into a few manageable parts to consider. First of all, like all emotions, jealousy is a clue giver. What is this emotion trying to tell me is a super helpful question to ask about most emotions. Jealousy often points to deeper needs like fear of abandonment, maybe insecurity, or unmet desires. It might clue you into some way you are feeling threatened, especially in the sense of resources of your partner going elsewhere, like time, loving emotion, money, energy, or being compared. Am I as good as? Am I the better lover? In ENM, we try to get really curious about these feelings and let them inform us rather than shame them. This invites a lot of my clients to engage jealousy as a clue or cue rather than a crisis. Instead of judging the feeling, ask, what is this jealousy trying to tell me? Jealousy might be asking for more reassurance, more autonomy, or clarity in boundaries. Secondly, let's remember that although there is research to support that jealousy is an instinctual response, for example, we have a lot of research on babies being jealous of other babies, and that's not necessarily taught. At the same time, jealousy is very much a taught response. Most of our monogamy scripts start socializing us from a really young age that we should feel jealous, especially of romantic or sexual partners. And we've developed a lot of cultural scripts around this. Monogamy-centered socialization, often referred to as compulsory monogamy, teaches us from an early age that jealousy isn't just natural, it's moral. It's romantic and even required. Think of all the love songs that have some form of jealousy as a marker of commitment. Some common cultural narratives or scripts include, if you loved me, you'd be jealous. The script says jealousy proves you care, and the impact is that people learn that jealousy is a sign of devotion rather than an emotional signal that may require self-regulation or communication. And the result is that lack of jealousy may be interpreted as indifference. A second script is your partner should choose you over everyone always, meaning you should be someone's everything. The impact of this is that it teaches us that exclusivity is the measure of love, and sharing attention, affection, or intimacy threatens your worth or place in the relationship. And the result being that jealousy becomes a protective instinct over perceived competition. Another script is there's only one right person for you, and this means your one true love should meet all your needs. The impact of this is that it encourages, quite frankly, a fantasy that one partner will fulfill every emotional, sexual, and relational desire, making any outside interest feel like a betrayal. The result of this is that any attraction to others by you or your partner is pathologized or punished. Even in monogamy, I talk about this fantasy a lot so that people can have realistic expectations of monogamous arrangements. Another script is if they really loved you, they wouldn't want anyone else. So this idea that desire for others equals emotional infidelity. The impact of this is that it fails to differentiate between love, attraction, fantasy, and commitment, all very different things. The result is that jealousy is reinforced as protection against emotional abandonment. Really, really not helpful, since most of us have some attraction or interest in other people's, even when we are very committed to the one that we're with. Another script is good relationships don't have room for others. In other words, if your relationship is strong, you won't need or want anyone else. The impact of this suggests that healthy people are sexually and emotionally self-contained, and seeking other connections is proof of something being broken. This is where I see attachment theory oftentimes being weaponized in ways that are not helpful nor realistic. The result is that jealousy becomes a diagnostic tool for relational health rather than one feeling among many. Another script would be, you should be enough, which means if your partner wants others, that's a reflection that I am not good enough. And the impact of this is that it ties self-worth to exclusivity. It encourages comparison, shame, and possessiveness, and the results are that jealousy feels like a justified response to perceived inadequacy. Another script is you either win or lose in love, which in essence turns love into a zero-sum game. And the impact of this is that it encourages scarcity thinking. If your partner gives love to someone else, there's less for you. And the reality is that it's not a pie game, but rather that it can be an everything is encapsulated type of space. The result of this is that jealousy is framed as rational self-protection. So lots of scripts to deconstruct that I think both affect people in non-monogamous and monogamous relationships. So let's talk about how ENM can provide tools to navigate jealousy, because what makes ENM different isn't the absence of jealousy, it's the emphasis on communication, self-reflection, and shared agreements. And the research is actually quite clear that those in ENM will say that it's not that they don't experience jealousy, it's more that they have better tools to manage it. So we do this by having partners have more explicit conversations about boundaries, reassurance, and emotional safety. Some tools or strategies I talk to my clients about are things like doing attachment check-ins. Are we feeling like we're spending enough time together? Are we prioritizing our relationship, especially in the context of the other ones we have? Do we know how to put new relationship energy in its place, which I will be talking about much more later? Jealousy processing rituals can also be very helpful. Ritual is a way that we as humans can come up with metaphors, stories, symbols that can help us regulate our emotions. And so you can maybe come up with mantras that are repeated in certain positions or times of day as a couple or alone. You can come up with reassurance scripts. What I find in today's world is that people use the I'm not responsible for your feelings approach way too quickly. It is super normal to need reassurance in relationships, and offering reassurance does not make you responsible for another person's feelings, but it does offer the care and concern which is pivotal to any relationship being successful. You can also always revisit relationship agreements. You can pause and create some space to be able to regulate feelings before you get started again. There are lots of things that you can do. Remembering that ENM is an ongoing practice and not a destination is important, because even folks who have been in long-term non-monogamous relationships still get jealous at times. But again, they've built that trust and communication and feel skilled in being able to move through those feelings without shame, personally, or punishment from the other. This reduces the perfectionism that can show up for clients trying to do ENM right. And boy, do those of us who come from high demand religions want to do it right. We often don't leave our learned perfectionism behind. And so how is some of this checking in on yourself and expecting so much perfection still being a narrative in your life now? Understanding the concept of compersion as a tool is also super helpful. Many people are not familiar with this word. Compersion is the experience of pleasure in your partner's joy and pleasure. And when you think about it, compersion is often described as the opposite of jealousy, although I think it's not so much that. It's more that it creates space for more than one emotional truth. It doesn't erase jealousy. It's something you feel in conjunction oftentimes with jealousy. So I really love the yes and model for most things in life instead of the either or model. It gives us a lot more ability to hold more than one thing in the same space. And ideas for this is that you can be, for example, jealous and glad your partner had a good time. You can feel insecure and supportive of their new connection. You can feel tender feelings and expansive feelings. Like any emotion, compersion can be natural or cultivated through practice, not forced. So start by asking, what part of their joy can I connect to, even if this is hard for me? Please remember that monogamy does not magically prevent jealousy either. People in monogamous relationships get jealous about all kinds of issues, about friends that they may have, about solo sex or pornography use, about fantasies that maybe aren't shared as a couple, maybe interests that they have in hobbies or other interests with other people, even attractions that one person may find that their partner is having, even if that partner doesn't plan on acting on them. Often within monogamous relationships, we have these feelings without necessarily the skill or space to talk about it openly. And why many of the principles I'm talking about today apply to all relational structures, including friendships, family relationships, coworker relationships, etc. If you enjoy my content and want to go deeper, go sign up for my newsletter at natashahelfer.com. You'll get a free copy of my current download full of juicy information. Also, make sure to leave your comments and questions for me because I would love to interact with you. When do you tend to feel more jealous, for example? What helps you feel secure and grounded when those feelings come up? What ideas do you have about communicating jealousy without blame or shame of either yourself or your partner? What would it look like to respond to jealousy with compassion and even with compersion? How are you willing to offer reassurance if it's your partner who is experiencing jealousy? Remember to ring my bell and subscribe.